Hey guys. Hey everyone. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all doing well. I'm gonna drink my coffee here and I'm gonna talk to you real quick. So, we've been talking about this for a while, actually, but I think now it's kind of prevalent, now it's kind of coming to light, and it's the sort of thing where, like, you just see it, too. So, a while back, we kept trying to kind of talk about certain subjects and a certain person, and just how detrimental the agenda of what this person was going to do would be for the country and everybody. And conveniently, all around this, all around discussing this and whatnot, we begin to notice that things that are very valid, logical, reasonable points that we're making to discredit somebody, we see a huge amount of interference, basically, from people just trying to break up what I'm saying on the stream. People that know how to do these things and shouldn't be doing this to harass people, but they are. And so what I just had recognized early on was just that there is this sort of agenda where there's a lot of folks kind of jumping on and attacking other people and stuff like that. And what you have to recognize is, if you're doing this for an agenda to convince, like to harm people and stuff like that, because you disagree politically, it doesn't serve your agenda to force people to believe you, or in a way that you think, that they're going to believe you anyway. And so what you have to realize about that is, again, all the person's going to do is know even more that you're full of it, because then they're going to start recognizing that you're kind of manipulating the base to do this too, and they're just going to see it. And this is what some of us have been seeing for a long time, myself included. More recently, people are being actually canceled for speaking their mind, because instead of a president of the United States anymore, we have somebody that can do things to overrule a judge, to overrule this whole system that we've built to have checks and balances to make sure nobody can do that. And I already warned you what giving him all the powers of a king would do. I kind of warned you about that. I kind of warned you this was heading that direction. We've talked about this for a long time. We had all kinds of interference with the stream, breaking up the stream way back when I would talk about this stuff and trying to abruptly end it. And I talked about this. I talked about how that was really going on, and there's a real threat to our democracy happening. And all around this, we were trying to be canceled by this exact threat. The same threat that's canceling Stephen Colbert. The same threat that's canceling all these other people simultaneously as they speak out publicly about the things that Donald frickin' piece of garbage Trump does. And I think you're starting to finally realize it. This was always the point behind following somebody implicitly, creating a cult. I tried to show you that by crashing and burning myself. But you didn't get the point. You have various times, the whole point was to show you why you don't. You know what I mean? Oh well, if I had done this, like, well then it wouldn't have been good, right? So like that's the point. Like, why would you ever at a certain point never just draw the line with, you know what I mean? And again, I always told you it was never illogical. It was never, oh, I want to draw the line with him, like having some credibility with what he's doing with social media. Guy clearly knows about social media and knows how to manipulate people and use that. That's for sure. Yeah, like he clearly knows some things. He's not the dumbest guy on the planet. But the whole point is, this guy is extremely dangerous to what we've built and our safety and our people. And the whole point is that the reason why we have such a prosperous, amazing country and why everybody around the world considers that is because we've always reached out, we've always helped when they needed it, and they're in kind, they would do the same. And Donald Trump has always acted like we didn't need this and like we're America and we don't. It's not the case, man. And I've always tried to tell people this, I guess. I've always tried to tell people you can't act like this. You can't act like, gun-swilling Americans that just want an excuse to have that. Like, prove that you need it. Regulate it. Prove that you have a reason for having that. And if you don't, that's the true conservative value is to conserve what you have, because there's a finite amount of people and a finite amount of resources and fossil, like, the whole purpose is to protect community and conserve. And you're sitting here letting him give tax breaks to billionaires. It costs you a lot of money. It doesn't make any sense to me. How does that make any sense for those values? It never did. And so, like, I was just talking about this. I always talked about this. I was always very informed with this. And like, the whole point that I made to you guys was that I did my research. Like, I didn't even know much about the man until I did a whole bunch of research when he first ran. And I was like, are we, I hope this is a joke. I had friends that thought it was a joke originally. Part of the reason they even only supported him was because they thought it was a joke. They bought the hats and stuff. It was a joke. They thought it was funny. And now, first convict in office, first person to essentially enter office of the presidency with all the powers of a king, all while seemingly having his party not choose a Supreme Court justice so he could get away with all this stuff. Way back when Obama had his pick in place and they didn't go with his pick and just left the seat vacant until Obama left office. Isn't that terrible? This is what I was warning you about. This is what he was warning you about. Even Obama was warning you. That's a red flag. He said that. That was a very big concern of his. And this is what nobody was paying attention to what that man was saying. I was. That's the problem. You need to pay attention to what Obama tells you. Because that man single-handedly got Osama bin Laden. Did Bush do that? Did Trump do that? No. This is the point. People don't appreciate, like, the people that did the good things, and then, like, the media, it's almost like the media didn't cover that enough and make a big deal about that like they should, and people, like, almost made fun of it, and, like, try to downplay it and stuff just for the purposes of, I guess because they're tired of Obama or something. Like, why would you ever be tired of somebody that was so good for the country? It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, all these people that want JFK back. You realize JFK and Obama would probably sit in a room and have a laugh. Probably be friends. Like, they're very, very close on what they, like, their viewpoints and stuff. Like this is what you don't realize. Is, like, we got so close to that with Obama. We got so close to our golden boy. You know, like the one everybody says is like, you know, like a very popular president, often thought that, you know, let's not even go down that road, right? Because we could sit here and talk all day about the conspiracies and stuff like that were conspiracies and are no longer conspiracies and are just literally being proven by declassifying files, where you literally just find out that, yeah, the CIA assassinated JFK, and again, it was just because that guy was an inside man. So the point is that, like, there's inside men now. Like this, that's the point. It's going on right now. People are harassing you, they're harassing me, and they work for the government. But not really. Yeah, they work for Putin. That's the point. They're probably, like, got a CIA badge or something. So, like, this is what you don't realize. Is like, I didn't just make that shit up. I got that information from somewhere. You know? The whole point is that was declassified. When Lee Harvey Oswald finished his task, that's it. He defected. He didn't have any reason to hide anymore. Like, nothing. That's the point. Like, it's pretty cut and dry. He reported, said, yeah, I'm done, left the country, and went back to Russia. He is literally a basically Soviet spy. He was a Russian spy. So it's like, man, are you kidding me? What else are we gonna slowly find out about? And they're trying to soften the blow. This is the point. A lot of this stuff is happening, and we're talking about it, and we're having all this interference because we're talking about it because nobody knows about it. And they think I'm just probably spouting nonsense, so they're reporting the stream. It's causing all kinds of interference. No. We're talking like big channels that are reporting this and reporting on this and trying to talk about this and raise awareness to this. Watch Infographics. Great. Highly recommend that channel. Infographics is a phenomenal channel that will inform you about a lot of nonsense that's going on. That, again, it's pretty informative. You look it up and you do your research, you're like, oh my god. Like, how did they hide this? How did I not know about it? Like, you just look it up and you're just like, are you kidding? So, like, if you know what to look up, that's my point. So my point behind their regulation with AI, I'm not saying regulation's bad. I even just talked about yesterday about how regulation can be a good thing. However, it can be politicized too. And so certain regulations on AI and certain regulations on your browsers and your search engine are a good thing, because they keep malicious traffic out. However, if you are suddenly noticing that the president, I use that term loosely, wants to restrict AI or browser-related things because now he wants to prevent you from finding articles that are valid, legitimate journalists, organizations that are just the media posting, now he's interfering with your right to freedom of press. That is absolutely unconstitutional. So we have to recognize when free speech and people are being attacked. Again, I tried to reach out and I tried to tell and warn Colbert and all these people. I even said I thought that he was like seriously going to go after these people. I said that, and I had all kinds of interference. I said he was going to go after Colbert, Kimmel. I said he was going to go after probably Jon Stewart eventually, but Jon Stewart's a tough cookie. You know, he knows it's coming. I think these guys knew, but they didn't know when. You know, that, like, they always sort of joked about it, but I think they knew too. They're not stupid. They knew. And so, like, I wasn't the only one. And so, like, the point is, while Biden was president and while they could have done something about it, they were silencing Because while Biden is president and while that shit's going on, if he finds out about that stuff, he's going to start investigating and find out what was going on, where they're sitting here and eventually going to try to suppress free speech and all kinds of civil rights that citizens actually have. Civilian rights, I should say. I should say civilian rights, incorrect term. So this is the point. You gotta recognize when there's too much of a pattern. Now, we can all sit here and we can talk about specific details and stuff like that. I don't think that's important at this point. I really don't. I think if I sit here and I go through all the things that happen, I think all you're gonna find out is some trolls that do their troll thing, took advantage of some situations they knew about and tried to exacerbate yada 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 what trolls do. Meanwhile, there's this other very real situation going on that I'm trying to actually inform people about, and they're just being really obnoxious, malicious trolls, but to the degree of like actually harassing me. So like it would be really, really hard to kind of go through and you know, and I think that's not necessarily important anyway. Because what's important to remember is just that you have these amendments, you have these rights, and you know that. You know that you can just look something up and find out if it's right or wrong. You can find information. You can say F you to a cop if you want to. Do you want that stuff taken away? Yes, you can. It is perfectly within your right to tell a cop to fuck off. It is completely protected under your free speech. If a cop, like, this is kind of the point. And so, like, there's evil everywhere. And I'm not saying all cops are evil and stuff like that, but people are devolving. They are, instead of trying to find out if I'm right, I guarantee you there might even be a few people watching that are really upset that I've said this. Maybe they're cops and they've used this against people, and now they know it's wrong because I've said it and I've told them it's wrong. However, now they recollect all these times they've used it, and instead of admitting this to themselves and trying to correct their behavior, they have to try to cover it up and justify it, and they get worse. Just like Trump voters. It's the same behavior. You just do this with everything. That's why the rest of us seem woke to you. It's not wokeism. We can change our minds about things. It's called adulting. And I'm sorry that you don't like that and it hurts your feelings, but it's the truth, man. So the point is, a lot of you put up this big front because you're the one actually with the feelings that are hurt. And so, like, you spend all this time trying to, like, point the finger and manipulate. No, just try really hard to do better. And acknowledge when you are wrong about something and try to correct it. Or if you truly believe that that's wrong, there's something innately wrong about that, state that. And have a good argument. Because why, in my opinion, why should I not be allowed my freedom and right to say that to another citizen, regardless of whether he's a police officer? That has nothing to do with anything. And so, like, you hear about these situations, a lot of times what they try to justify is that it sounds like fighting words and stuff like that. There's no piece of law that says that any statement other than I want to fight you or something like that justifies being fighting words. Other than the statement of literally that, of literally stating what your intentions are. So again, the two words themselves, fuck off or fuck you, do not add up to meaning anything having to do with fighting somebody. That cop is using that to get you to talk about fighting. to talk about those things, to say that word out loud. Do you see what I'm saying? And so, like, there's just these people that exist that kind of go around harassing other people. And they're just the bullies that you grew up with, went to school with, and they didn't learn to not be bullies. They just hid it and became cops. Well, first they went into the military. Partially why I know this. I'm gonna be a little honest with you here. Partially why I know this is I have a first-hand account with somebody that I was bullied by in school. And again, this person didn't challenge me to my face because he knew I knew martial arts. I think this was starting to get to where I actually had learned martial arts, and I was getting to that point. So they had to be more creative about it. We'll just say that you know, it was illegal, the things that he was doing. So anyway, when it found out that when he got in trouble, basically, I didn't hear from him much after that. However, he went into the military. They decided that this was the best way to deal with this person's discipline. Send him to the military. He wants to shoot people. I guess? Except now, everybody thinks he's fine. And now he comes back, and he's a cop. Just because they gave him a gun in the military, and he was in combat, they just, oh, well, great. But he never got over his behavior. They just used this because he's going to be in another country as a soldier, so who the fuck cares? Okay, I can understand that. It's somewhat rational, except again, when he comes out. You get what I'm saying? So, like, there's just a systemic problem. And then people want to sit here and act like they don't understand why there's a huge mental health epidemic. Do you have any concept for how long we've been at war with other countries? There's just a war, and then another war, and then another war, and then another war, and then another. Some of these guys, they literally thought they were coming home forever, and then they're like, nah, ship them back off to Afghanistan again. They use the army and the military has a history of being abusive with soldiers that can take it. Just saying. And while it makes good soldiers, then the problem is now you keep them as career soldiers and you don't let them come back when they want to. That's not good. That's not good. It doesn't teach the next generation to want to join the military either. And you start realizing why the next generation, why you're having problems with this. So, again, this is kind of what I do. Like, I can look at stuff and I can just analyze what the problem is. The solution is to start listening. The solution is to recognize when somebody has analyzed something properly, giving you an answer, valid answer, and to try it. At least try it. And don't half-ass it. Don't try it half-ass and then claim it didn't work. Did you try everything that was actually suggested, or did you half-ass a part that I said, it's not going to work unless you do it this way, and you didn't do it that way? I think that's most of the time. I think people don't want these things to work, these ideas, and want to claim they don't. And so, like, that's a Donald Trump. That's exactly who that is. That's somebody that will scam his way into being right. The whole reason Iran and Israel, like, that whole conflict's happening is because of Donald Trump. Iran had a nuclear deal. He got rid of it, claiming it was terrible. It would have literally prevented, like literally just so many things that this guy has done that are just fucking terrible. So you just rationalize, and I'll be honest with you, there's quite a number of people out there like that don't like this guy. Quite a number. Like that's what's thought, is that people don't like. No, he is hated by most people. There's a very few small percentage of people voting for him, and that's the power that we're giving to like that. That's the point. Like it wasn't rigged until he rigged it. Like that's the point. He came up with a scheme. He figured out how to rig it, because this is what he always does. And so since he did this, the first time when he said stop the steal and stuff like that, he was worried it was maybe actually rigged. Maybe he was worried it was rigged because, again, he came up with the rig, the idea, and probably somebody found out about it, and he hadn't done it yet. So now he does it with Elon Musk. In the next election, he does it with that guy and actually rigs the election. And he wins the weirdest fucking election, like nobody's... Like, even with... and then now for the first time in the stream, we have evidence that the device is having some sort of overheating issue. So you get what I'm saying? Like basically they're threatening people. And they've been causing all kinds of problems for my device. This is just Donald Trump. I've gone to so much length to prove to you that at the end of the day, it literally is just him. Whether it's like this base doing it, these people that can't be proven wrong and stuff like that, or directly people working for him, regardless of the case, it is all under that umbrella at this point. And so, you know, again, like, we already proved that it took them a long time to sit here and make things look a certain way. Like, there were so many times where, like, we'd sit here and prove that the same thing wasn't like a technical glitch. They were just trying to make it look that way, you know? And, like, we could prove that it's not something that regularly happens. So they just spent all this time trying to give me regular problems and harassing me for a very long time to give me regular problems, to make that from before look like it was just part of that. So that's what always the agenda was to do, was to sit here and do it long enough to make it look like it was just like a regular thing that was happening and stuff like that. Except I did go to great lengths to prove many times that back-to-back it wouldn't happen while streaming privately. Then they started breaking they started trying to look at the private streams. We saw evidence of that. We saw, like, all kinds of stuff where it was very obvious these people had tools that they should not be allowed to have. And you get what I'm saying. So yeah, we already talked about it earlier. We already know that the CIA orchestrated, like, literally Lee Harvey Oswald was just working with the CIA. The guy that shot and killed JFK. That guy was just working for the CIA, and the CIA was like, duh. Meanwhile, they're too busy trying to stage, they're too busy trying to screw around with all the racist stuff going on. You know that the FBI basically had Martin Luther King assassinated? That's basically what happened. Basically. But they tried to make it look like... Well, basically they manipulate people and just fuck around. So, like, this is the point. Who knows if... Because Donald Trump has his people in the FBI, who knows if he's just using the FBI as his own personal police force. Just do whatever he wants, because he's king. This is the point. The Congress and people in Congress don't have those checks and balances anymore to defund and stop what he's doing. It's not good. And this is what Colbert called out too. This is extremely dangerous. This is the turning point. that if you don't do something now, who knows? The fate of maybe even the world is right in the balance right now because of what's happening in this country. And this is what Russia counted on. They're going. Why is anybody trying to convince the base anymore? That's what I don't get. Like, yeah, I get it. Talk about the Epstein stuff. That's really fucked up. Definitely talk about that. Get it out there. Yeah, he's clearly on the list. However, what I will say, though, is like... You know, like, literally we could sit here all fucking day. And, like, the list for Donald Trump. Like, the list for fucking Donald Trump. Like, you like obstruction of justice on, like, what was 27 accounts? He was found guilty of that. By Congress. So, like, just to sit here and yeah, like that, yes, get it out, yes, absolutely, and again, call out the fact that conveniently he's really, you know, why are we talking about this Epstein? You know why the fuck we're talking about the Epstein thing? Are you fucking kidding me? You're actually trying to say that? He knows why we're talking about it. Like, are you dumb? No, he's not. So, like, that's the point. He knows, so why would he say that? And everybody had the same reaction to that. Everybody did. And so, like, this is the point. Why is it, like, all of a sudden now with the base? No, these are just people that are really scared. Yeah, for a long time, they're sitting here justifying it. Now they look really fucked up. They look like really fucked up people with some real fucking mental problems for backing this guy. That's the problem. And so now, this is just people really quick trying to be like, I never liked Donald Trump. Yeah, yo, bullshit. So many of you sat here and like fucking, like I could, the amount of times somebody had some fucking angry tirade with me on Facebook. This is why I don't even, like that's the point. Like, that is, they manipulate people on that platform. They use you for politics. They manipulate comments. They will post a meme just to get a bunch of people to start arguing. And then they do. And it's all nonsense. And then all these people sitting here talking in the comments, huge arguments, pages, paragraphs of comments, and almost none of it has any fact. It's literally people going back and forth, talking about things that literally I can read entire sentences, and this is their debate. Entire sentences is false. Nobody's speaking anything they know anything about. Backing up Trump. Even some of the people trying to discredit him clearly don't even know what they're talking. Like they don't even know how to discredit him. So like just really, really very obviously manipulative situations where you can clearly see Russia has been weaponizing social media. And Trump's like, ban TikTok, ban TikTok. Yes, ban TikTok, yes. But why aren't you focusing on Facebook too? Why is do you know that Facebook is being used to identify people by the government? Did you know that? Did you know that? That's not an identifier. It's a social media account. I just, again, like, I don't think there's many intelligent people left at the top. I don't. That's my point, is the people in charge, they're not very smart. And it's not to sound mean, it's to sound like You know, I mean, like you wouldn't go to a doctor that didn't finish med school, right? So why are all these assholes in the government working for Donald Trump that have never done something like that? Just work for Fox News, or they're just billionaires? Why was Betsy DeVos the head of the Department of Education? What was her qualification? Other than her husband is a billionaire, what's her qualification? Oh, wait. She destroyed the Department of Education. She destroyed it. Destroyed it. Like, all these people he's ever hired just destroyed so many things. Donald Trump, like, defunding the Department of Education now, again, to erase the evidence that he destroyed it. And, like, these are points that I've made. I've talked about that before, about how disgusting and damaging she was. Like she was she's basically a criminal. She did illegal things. She sat here and acted like a mafia gang lord. Like I remember, like, after she was appointed and in office and stuff, like Trump was in office, and after she got appointed, I remember those letters went out, like those money grubbing letters, like forcing people to pay, like, now and stuff like that. I remember those fucking things went out like that week, and they were aggressive. That is like the government acting like a mafia. Who does that remind you of? Then meanwhile, Biden's like, are you fucking kidding me? Meanwhile, Biden's like looking at the bottom line, looking at how much debt Americans are back owed, looking at the budget that he has, going, you know, we can really fix a lot of people's problems if we just put this money here. It's really not that much money for us. For them, yeah, it's a lot. And this is the fucking point. The Democrats are trying to be honest with you about that. Donald Trump's trying to take all the money. Yep, he knows how much money the government has, and it's your fucking money that you're paying them to do things with. So he's just trying to steal it. That's what he's doing. He's trying to steal your taxes. And then this guy spent his whole life avoiding paying taxes. Remember, he'd inflate his expenses after tax time. He'd deflate them during tax time to make, look like he doesn't have, as much. I mean, there was proof of that. Like that's the point. Like, he started, like, just, I mean, when are you going to start realizing that, like, and that's the point, the IRS was on him, and then he started, like, catching up to that and trying to do things about it and spent a ton of money doing that. So, like, that's it shouldn't be about just buying your way out of a situation. Like, that's what's so dangerous about this, is like he was already in over his neck, and then he just became president, and suddenly all that went away. That's not okay. That's what's not okay. And that's what the image, and that's what the American people were allowing him to do. So again, like, I don't really care what you think. Like, we get a lot of suppression in here. Like, if I sit here and I start talking about Donald Trump, that view count says 0, no matter what. Until somebody starts chatting, then if they know somebody's in here, then they just bump the number up. Donald Trump has people literally lying to systems, lying to YouTube, like literally lying about ratings, lying. And Donald Trump is the one that sits here and he's like, oh, yeah, I care about ratings. He's the one that cares so much about ratings. So this is why he goes around and gets jealous of people that get a lot of views and stuff like that. I was getting all these views, talking reasonably, constructing reasonable statements, and debating against people that were for him, and I was doing so in a respectful manner. Yep. For a very long time. And then all the little fucking MAGA trolls sat in here and caused a situation where they were going to come and chat and just say a lot of really dumb shit all the time. And, like, manipulate my channel and manipulate my chat into a way that I was literally just going to call them out for exactly who they are. So, this is the point, is they created a dynamic to try to convince the audience that, like, a person is a certain way or something like that, just because they came in acting like that and then got that response. So, like, you know, like, it would be exactly like what happened on January 6th, where they fucking did a bunch of illegal shit, tried to kill some people, vandalized shit, killed some cops in the process, and then acted like they didn't do a bunch of illegal shit, acted like they just had every right to just barge in and break shit, smear shit on the walls, and and then again, all this conveniently happening around, that's right, around when Donald Trump was talking about releasing these people and pardoning all these people that fucking did these disgusting things. You know, you guys killed cops, right? You know you did that, right? Yeah, and then this is the point. I investigated this better than the police did. That's a shame. And then I do background checks on myself, and I find out cops in other states are just looking my information up and doing background checks on myself on, like, free websites and stuff, linking my data. Like, literally, this is the point. All these cops started looking up information and using their systems to do this. They're doing the same to you. They're doing the same to Colbert. They're doing the same to anybody they disagree with. This is all that's happening. It's all that's happening. And they're just harassing you. This is what Donald Trump does to his people. It's Nazism, except through brainwashing. They are getting you to be the Nazis through brainwashing. So basically, like, you just do whatever they convince you of. Yeah, it's gotten pretty bad, and we all recognize that there's all these different things going on, and all these different psychological warfare's tension are high. This is literally what Russia does to manipulate people on social media. They sit here and they manipulate Facebook. This is the point. And we already know that we have the proof that Russia took out ads and affected the election between Trump and Hillary. We've proof of that. We already know that. They took out ads saying things like, basically about Trump that weren't true, and making him look good, saying things about Hillary that weren't true, making her look bad, stuff like that. Basically, they know that the Democrats were recognizing Putin as an ever-growing problem, and were trying to do things, obviously, to fix that problem. And conveniently, all around, Hillary losing the election barely, not by popular vote. She didn't lose by popular vote. She lost by electoral vote, which again would be like, again, it's like if the, you know, you voted for something and they just picked the person that came in second place. Like, it's literally what it's like. So that's why, again, like the Electoral College is just ridiculous, and it's a great way for people to scam the election. That's what Donald Trump did, like, the second time around, and like, so, like, that's the point. Well, not the second time, but third time around. Sorry, second time he lost to Biden. But you get what I'm saying. Like, this is what he did. He took advantage of that situation, and case in point, the whole time I've been sitting in here talking about this, telling you about the scams, telling you about all the stuff that's been going on, that view counter has said completely zero, And this is the point. They are doing these things. They are using their tools to, trend that stream absolutely down as far as it can. Literally, like, the whole time for, like, the past 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, there's been just zero constantly sitting on that counter, just like all the other times that we've called this out, where we're talking about, the terrible things Donald Trump is doing to undo democracy and take your rights away, and then conveniently we have all these interruptions that are breaking the stream up, and then later on there's huge sections of the stream missing, huge audio sections of the stream missing, where I say this condemning thing, like the big beautiful bill, where I was trying to warn you that was going to take your rights away, and holy shit, did it ever. And conveniently, huge, giant sections of this missing, where I'm making points that are just points that you can just find in news articles and shit like that. It's literally looking the shit up, talking to you about it. And again, just huge clumps of the stream missing. I'm not doing anything different today. Yep, there's nothing any different. Same place. And that was happening, like, not even fucking, 15, 20 minutes into the stream. It was just constantly happening. And then conveniently, right as I'm saying, like, a valid point to something that would be condemning to a crime Donald Trump would be responsible for committing on the American people, like war crimes and shit like that. Like, things where he's, like, literally committing treason. He's literally, like, underhandedly committing treason, selling secrets to the enemy and stuff like that. And I'm, like, talking about this and just clumps of the stream. There's an interview where he was caught saying that a long time ago, that he was going to sell secrets to the enemy. He admitted that in an interview, and everybody's just telling you about this for fucking forever. You just find it. No, probably not anymore. He probably got to try to get it removed. He literally admitted to this. Some guy was, like, pressing him. He finally admitted to it and just, like, tried to, like, quickly talk about something else. He's like, no, but that's not the question. He's like, would you sell secrets to Russians about the United States for personal gain, for money? Like he just kept pressing him. And eventually he's like, well, of course I would. This is the point. We're not talking about that. And he just, like, kept talking. I'm like, wait, what? What did you just fucking say? Wait, what? Why is nobody talking about this? What the fuck did he just say? And, like, nobody talks about this. Nobody talks about all the fucking things that he said. They're literally, like, anybody says it, they're, like, the FBI shows up at your house asking you fucking questions. Meanwhile, this motherfucker goes out and just says all these things that constantly the FBI would start investigating other people for. Meanwhile, Donald Trump single-handedly then starts using this FBI secretively behind the scenes. I'll be willing to bet there's an entire list of people at the FBI that are just doing secretive things that they can't tell people about. That, don't worry, it's for the greater good. It's to help the country, right? We got to weed out all of the bad guys in our country that are here to harm us and here illegally. And that's what those people from the FBI and Kash Patel and all these other people, they're not getting involved in that. Are you kidding me? That's to save face. That's a lie. And it's the same bullshit as way back in the day when the FBI was used by the government at the time, too, to just literally assassinate people. What they did was they would just go around, get people to fight, people they disagreed with. They hated John Lennon. They arguably got John Lennon assassinated. They hated all these... It literally wasn't just, like, racist things. Like, it wasn't a racist thing. It was literally just the FBI was being used by people in the government. Yeah. We just had interference where they just sat here and tried to remove a section of the stream. So again, let me remind you, the FBI is flat out. The FBI is flat out being used by Donald Trump to, again, do what they've always done. So again, I'll remind you, the FBI has a long history of having like a secret part where they just sit here and they don't talk to anybody else in the FBI. And they just lie about everything they're doing. Because again, what they're doing is fucking illegal. And then again, the point is, the FBI are the ones that went after John Lennon. Oh yeah, they got John Lennon assassinated. They went after fucking Martin Luther King. They exacerbated that. They got somebody to kill him too. This is the point. This is what they're trying to break up and try to get me not to say. You can literally just go, again, watch infographics. Go look this shit up yourself. It's not that hard to find. Meanwhile, they're sitting here harassing me because moron, Donnie Dickhead, fucking stupid ass Trump is an idiot. That's it. He's just a stupid fucking idiot that sits around, watches my stream, gets all triggered by it because I get all these views talking negative about him. So he sits here and causes problems for me. That's it. It's the same bullshit as with Stephen Colbert. It's the same bullshit as with Jimmy Kimmel. Yeah, except the difference is they have a network and whole teams of people and stuff that will notice things and can report them. So, that's why he started more individually attacking U.S. citizens. And I've just been tracking it and documenting all of it. So, that's the point. This is what he's doing. And that's why it seems like somebody's looking into my channel when they're not. Yeah, that's why. Because the FBI is being used by the federal government, by Trump, not Congress. Donald piece of shit dickhead Trump is using the FBI to attack U.S. citizens. That's a piece of shit. Yeah, all you gotta do if you want to really dislike this guy, all you gotta do is just look up the images of him without his orange fucking makeup. That's all that has to happen. It's all fastidial. People are just so it's literally all that. All that would have to happen is for them to realize he looks just as old and feeble as Biden ever did. If anything more, he looks disgusting. He paints his face orange all the time. Jon Stewart started doing that, and nobody questioned it, too. This is the point. Y'all just started watching a little bit more, meanwhile not, pointing out. I saw what he was doing. I thought it was fucking hilarious. Yeah, Jon Stewart never used to sit there and paint his fucking face orange way back then. Yeah, recognize when somebody's trying to do something. Recognize, that looks weird as shit. It looks weird as shit. It looks weird as shit. He wants you to know this. He wants you to call it out. Why the fuck's your face orange, Jon Stewart? So he can laugh and be like, yes, thank you. Finally! That's the point! He's the joke so that you get who the other joke is. He's a clown. Jon Stewart's an actual comedian, though, so it's okay. He's not in charge of the nuclear codes. Except I would much prefer Jon Stewart, since he was the guy in Congress literally arguing, fighting tooth and nail every day that the shitty-ass Republicans were trying to rip benefits from the 9/11 first responders. That's right. Republicans were spending all their time trying to rip benefits from 9/11 first responders, firemen that were dying, that were going to die because they needed oxygen and shit like that. And these faggots in Congress couldn't, and remember, We don't call gay people faggots, so it's okay for me to use that derogatory term. These faggot Republicans in Congress were sitting there. Oh, I'll wait for the interference. Remember, we don't call gay people faggots, so it's okay for me to use that derogatory term. These faggots in Congress were sitting there preventing firemen and firefighters and first responders. They were going to take away the benefits they had all these years. And the government was like, well, we can't just keep funding their... Why not? Why not? These guys gave their lives to pull people out of some rubble, to respond. Some of them didn't make it. These people have a rough life now and could barely do certain things, gave their livelihood for this, and you're not accepting that responsibility? It's fucked up. No, the government can more than afford that. These are old guys. We're not talking 40, 50 years. We're talking like a couple decades, okay? Where's your compassion? And just nothing. That's the point. The point is, these people responded, and we weren't taking care of them. So all the good people that were first responders, they don't fucking want to do that job anymore. That's what happened in America. And Jon Stewart was right at the center. He saw that shit. He saw, recognized what was going on. Meanwhile, none of you can. He wears that orange fucking shit every day, looking like a damn clown every day, delivering you the funniest shit, the most honest shit you've ever heard, and it's coming right from a comedian, and still, you look at Donald Trump the same way. Still, you haven't gotten the point. Yeah, you're gonna sit here and overheat my device. Yeah. Yep. Meanwhile, Jon Stewart is reviving The Daily Show. Yeah. He is so funny. And again, all he's doing is kind of a lot of stuff I've been saying, and kind of the same way. Yeah, kind of the same way. And that's okay. I love it. And that's the point. You know, the whole point is to make you laugh, so that you can get over it and laugh about it and kind of realize at the end of that laugh what's right and wrong about that situation. You're not supposed to laugh at Trump at the dumb shit he says and then agree with it. No. Like you can laugh at him because he said something fucking stupid and then recognize that he's the President of the United States, and you don't want some fucking stupid idiot that says shit like that as the President of the United States. Get what I'm saying? Do you think if I was the President of the United States I'd be talking like this and saying shit like this? No. Do you think I did this as a martial arts instructor in my school? No. Am I gonna sabotage my character and what I stand for by not delivering you honest transparency of how I feel about these things? By just, yeah, I'm gonna do that because that's what I do. That's what an artist does. That's what I'm here to do. So if I'm not doing that honestly, what the fuck am I doing? Ozzy would say the same. So, recognize the difference. Donald Trump ain't no fucking artist. Never was. So why the hell is that guy swearing? Why the hell is that guy constantly saying shit that a president shouldn't say? Why is he the example of what your next generation kids can look up to? Why do I see all these terrible videos of these teenagers hazing their own parents? Did you ever see that? Ah, God, that... so stupid. Like, he recorded this video of, like, his mom's reaction to him voting for Trump because, like, you know, she just accepted that he wasn't going to do that, you know. And, like, she was, like, crying and all upset. And he just posts it. Yeah. He's got millions of views. She's all upset. Everybody's just laughing about this. It's funny after the fact, and I'm sure they can laugh about it now. However, that kid's got some problems. So, like, that's kind of the point, and almost anybody should recognize that. Like, almost anybody should recognize that. Fuck Jon Stewart. Fuck you too. Fuck out of my chat. Fuck you. No. This is what the chat said. We got rid of that. Fuck out of my chat. How are you still typing? I blocked you. So anyway, you know, the point is, this kid thinks that's like, yeah, it's funny after the fact. It's funny to laugh at now. Like, that's the point. But he initially was the whole point that I'm making is, instead of taking that situation seriously, instead of listening to the warning, respecting his mom, respecting she knew more, respecting that and stuff like that, understanding why she'd cry, the seriousness of this, he's not treating it that way. The whole point is that the next generation has been warning you. We've been telling you this is not a normal thing. It's not normal. It's not like it was where Obama warned you a couple times and he admitted later he used that for propaganda. He said that. He said, no, this time, really. He said, no, I realize I've said this before. Like, that was him kind of admitting. You have to understand, like, he can't. You know what I mean? Like, politicians, that was him admitting to that. You recognize that, okay? Like that's the most he's going to do, is just try to warn you about some, like, a thing that he sees is happening. And then maybe that doesn't actually happen. Good. But at least he tried to warn you. You know? So, like, the point is, he did warn us about this, and it really was a stark warning, and nobody's recognizing it. And the whole point is that this guy has been doing things slowly but surely to take rights away and to fuck this country, like, in every way that he can. Like you constantly think he's getting more money. People in other countries love Trump because he's making them rich. You understand this? Europe is richer because of Trump. Yeah. We pulling out of NATO, not okay. The point is that it really is a warning, and this kid is posting the reaction, the reaction to her worry about what's going to happen to him in the future. And he doesn't get it. He really doesn't. He didn't live through JFK. He didn't live through the FBI assassinating Martin Luther King. He didn't live through all that. He didn't live through the Cold War. He didn't live through all this. He just thinks it's all funny. You know, the most that's happened to, he hasn't even had a school shooting. Nah. The most that's happened to him is you know, so, you know, like, maybe some of his buddies, like, pranked him or something like that. That's it. Now this is funny to him. This is the point. This is why war happens over and over and over, because people don't understand how real it is, that people actually die. And There's no accountability. There's no I give a shit. There's just people die. So, you wonder why they do a Superman movie where Superman finally decides to say, no, fuck that shit. I'm saving the day and stopping people from dying. Yeah. No, I don't wonder. Because other people like me have started to recognize that's what a real Superman would do. He wouldn't let wars go. Like, I remember thinking that in the past too, like watching that a war was going on and he's Superman and he's choosing to let the soldiers fight the war and not do anything. I just remember thinking to myself, I don't know that he would actually do that. It doesn't seem to fit his character, actually. I think he'd just stop it. Because he could just do it out in an instant and everybody would be afraid he'd stop it again. That's the point. If you actually had somebody that accurate, that dismissive of dealing with it, like NATO, where they could just squeeze, stops war. It's peace. You know, the point is they're not invading. They're there to offer support to countries that get invaded, just like they did for Ukraine, which is why they single-handedly destroyed Russia. They kept pleading with them, stop. If you stop, we'll stop. You invaded us. Any moment that you say war's over, and they pleaded with them. You know, this is propaganda all over Russia, I'm sure, that they're lying to their people and stuff. They sat there the whole way through and pleaded with them to please back off. Every moment. Pretty much every day, I think. Nope. Like, you stop, we'll stop. Like, that's the point. They got invaded. They just defended themselves. And the whole point of NATO was that, yeah, we all got each other's backs so that we don't get invaded. Why the fuck does Putin not like that? That's what you should be concerned about. Because again, the whole point is propaganda to educate you wrong. Why would you think NATO would be a bad thing? Like, that's the point. They just fund and help people. They don't get involved. They don't sit there. Now, unless they think that their other countries might be at risk and they need to do a couple of things, that's a little bit different. That has happened, but very rarely. That's the point. The more countries that could get involved in that and support that theory, the broader that spectrum is. Get it? So, why is Donald Trump single-handedly getting rid of all the things that cause us to come together? Like NATO. And peace treaties. Where you don't make weapons. Why? Because he wants war. Why do Republicans always constantly push gun rights? Nobody's threatening to take guns away. Nobody's ever really done that. So why is that an agenda? Why was it always common for, and like the job thing too? Why do we push this agenda? Well, because to make you fear immigrants. They'll take your jobs. Are they more employable than you? Are they a valuable worker? Okay. That's pretty fair. But stop being a piece of shit? I don't understand what you get what I'm saying? Like, if they're legal to work and they're really good workers, valuable employees, fuck, I'd hire all of them. That's the point. Anybody would. That's exactly what happened on Ventura Farm. Where you had all these people hired because they're just better workers and stuff like that. You see people being racist about it. No, honestly. No, I just see lazy Americans getting lazier and dumber and devolving. Meanwhile, people migrate here and know how hard it is. So they come here and try because they have a system that rewards them for trying. That's it. Americans don't have to fucking try. They can be fucking lazy and slide by. Immigrants have to try. Therefore, Donald Trump is attacking that so he doesn't... He's racist. That's the situation. Like that just explains, like, that's all that's happening, dude. Like seriously, that's all that's happening. it's just a racist situation. Like, I'll be honest with you, of all races for him to pick to be racist against, I have known many Mexicans, many, okay, because I've had many jobs, okay, and the Mexicans that I knew were very nice people, and that's why I knew them, because they would try to talk, they would offer me food and stuff. They're nice. And they always helped. And I shit you not, I could tell you of several times, I'm a fast fucking worker. I have people that would back that up too. Trust me. Very fast. I'm a very efficient worker. I don't know how to move slowly. It's something that's just built, like, I will have a problem standing idle. If I'm standing idle, I pick up a broom or something. I just can't do it. It's not how I was built. I've known several Mexicans that can work circles around me. And I'll admit that. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I don't have some sort of, so what? I know why, actually. I can explain it with science, but I don't expect people to understand. People that are tall and stuff like that, we need large spaces to work. People that are stockier, stuff like that, like, just, not necessarily short, but, like, just not as tall as other people and stuff like that, they can be more efficient in a closed, confined space and stuff like that, because, again, they don't turn around and their entire stride takes them into something, like it's not like, their head is barely making the clearance on something, or they turn around in a kitchen and only one stride takes them basically out of the kitchen, whereas most people would take 5, like things like that you don't consider, where they design a sandwich bar for fucking short people, where everything is so damn close that you can't slide it. It's like you have to do this with your hands. It's like, no, my fucking arms move like this, man. Like, so like the point is, there are different jobs where people are going to excel based on their body types and stuff. Like, this is how I learned martial arts can relate to real life. How I started learning martial arts to relate to real life. Like basically, like, if you feel like you're confined too much to things, like you're a big dude or something like that, or you're like going like this back and forth and stuff like that, you got long legs, you're not going to be as efficient as somebody else, because body doesn't work that way. Takes you longer. Like think about it like this. I'm not as close to the ground. I'd have to stand like this the whole time I'm working. Now I can suddenly make quicker movements because I'm closer to the ground. Now if I stand like this, it takes my head longer to reach its point, and it puts more strain on my back, like if I'm moving to the left and to the right. Like, it's a pivot point. And so, like, you just start figuring out that, like, you have to bend your knees and stand. No lie, I did this job where I was like that for like 5. They did not appreciate what I did to make sure I could do that job. I was literally in a horse stance. You know what a horse stance is in martial arts? I was literally just standing in horse stance the whole fucking time I did the job. No lie, I was just like in horse stance the whole time. And people like kind of look at me funny as they walk by and stuff like that. It's like, if you do that job long enough, you know exactly the stress it puts on your hip and stuff like that, just shifting back and forth. So this is why I use the martial arts. I picked up on the point where I had to pivot my foot, turn, and face this way, and actually put my body this way so that my toes are facing forward, and I'm not making my knee take the sideways motion. And I started realizing that was all people's medical problems there too. This lady had bad knees, had to get knee surgery. She'd never do that. I kept trying to tell her it's literally how you move, and she would never do it long enough. And then like she just wouldn't believe that was the thing. That was just like, you realize how often you're just doing this with all your weight all day, every day. Then you pick up something heavy, you actually like bend your knee a little bit while your toes aren't pointed that direction, so all of the weight shifts to one side. You really think that's not going to have you like detrimental? How much do you weigh? Yeah, like, don't look at me and thin people, because again, that's proportionate. How much do you weigh? Okay, and now you're shifting back. This is the point. Like, it's not to be rude. Your joints can't take that. So, yeah, I got a little off subject there, but the point is, I just started realizing that was like a lot of what connecting martial arts to real life. Like a lot of those light bulbs started going off and stuff like that. Actually, a lot of this happened in fast food too. Was if you work in fast food, you just learn that you'll be sliding around all over the place. Non-slip doesn't mean shit, because it's the tiles. They don't care. They just get the dumbest tiles, and there's grease all over. It's like literally just like an ice skating rink at all times. You have to know how to turn and slide as you walk around in that establishment. Otherwise, you'll just fall. You will literally fall. It will literally happen to everybody, and you'll fall several times throughout the course that you work there, because you're just sliding all the time. So I started learning how to pivot, and that's actually partially why I'm so good at spins. This actually helped me with that, believe it or not. I related in my brain a real life thing to pivoting, where if my weight got to a certain point, I could still catch myself. So I would run drills where I would try to do a break fall, but then spin. So like I would start falling, but then at the last second, I would try to do this thing where I'd like correct and do like sort of like that, where I'd spin all the way around and like recorrect that. So I did retrain that, and it helped me with that. But that's me. You guys aren't necessarily going to sit here and have the martial arts knowledge to be like, oh, well, this is how I, just like I said, where instead of doing this, the martial artist in me, the instructor in me goes, well, I mean, I read that Grey's Anatomy textbook, I know how the skeleton works. Your joint doesn't move that freaking direction. It moves one direction. It moves like this. So if you have a knee joint that's like this, and you're constantly moving side to side, and you're not putting it this way so that it can move like this as you put weight on it, all you're doing is moving this side to side and expecting this to take all that weight this direction. Eventually it's going to go. Eventually it's going to go. That's all it's going to happen. It's literally all. It's just physics. It's just science, man. You are just literally over time just destroying your knee. And that's why half of you need surgery. It's like the whole back thing. People are like, go do yoga, and then you don't believe it. You're overweight if you don't believe in yoga. You are probably overweight, right? Yoga doesn't work for you. You're not a believer in it. You're probably overweight then, because you go to yoga and yoga doesn't work for you because again, you're overweight. You have another problem that causes you to lose all of that alignment that you've done, the work in progress you did in yoga, overnight, because you sleep. You lay down and you don't think about how your fat shifts your own spine around. You lay there all like this in all different directions. It causes so many health problems to be overweight. And not just the things you think about where it's like organs and stuff. No, posture, everything. The way you move, it just affects everything. So like this is the point. It's not, like that's why so many doctors are adamant about that. Like it's not a, you just have to take care of that. And so like that's the point, is like people don't really consider that. And so like if you go do yoga, Yeah, there's so many stretches that will literally just pull your spine in exactly the right way to go pop, 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 all up your spine. Like, if you just realign, you know how to do these stretches, you have a proper yoga instructor, you start realizing it will benefit you and you'll lose weight. Because yoga and stretching promotes metabolic process. You'll start metabolizing better. You're going to get a lot of gas. Don't be embarrassed. If you go to yoga and you're embarrassed by gas, yeah, you get a tape or something like that. Get used to it. It's everybody. It's everybody. Just it's gonna happen. But yeah, understand that if you do it enough, you're gonna see the benefits. And trust me, it's a lifesaver. It really is. Teach you a lot. It can bridge a gap with a lot of things. Flexibility is strength, man. It is. That's what a good number of those karate guys would make the mistake of. They're not understanding. Like, they're too rigid. That was always the problem. Like I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and say that you can't still be an expert with a limited style and be really good with it, because you can. But the problem is, if you're injuring yourself while you're doing that, your martial arts is only so good. So karate typically, yeah, like that was the problem, is like a lot of times they don't punch right, or if you punch that way, it would actually angle your wrist wrong, angle your elbow wrong, angle your fist wrong. You're gonna get knocked over just doing the punch. A lot of times you're just off balance doing the punch, and then it hurts your joint, or like just things like that, where it just doesn't make any sense. And then kung fu you just like, oh wow, suddenly it makes sense. Like you just like, oh yeah. Yep. Okay, I get it. So, anyway, you have you have a lot of nonsense going on, clearly, and it's been going on for a long time. And like I said, I tried to call this stuff out and reach out to certain people that I think it was happening with. I'm sure they knew too. I'm sure they did, but I definitely felt some backlash. I definitely felt a lot of interference from this, and have been. And again, the only thing I promote and stand for is those rights, those freedoms, and what our country was built on. And that's democracy. It's not a republic. And people act like, well, we are a democratic republic. Well, no, we shouldn't be. We should be a democracy. That was the whole point. We were becoming a democratic republic, and now we're becoming more of a republic. Not good. Okay, you don't want people, super rich people, deciding all the things for you. They don't know how things work. They will ruin you on purpose. They often don't think you're worth living, except the problem is, if they were in your situation, they would feel the same way as you. This is why a cult following, that's why that's a cult, that's the point. They are wrong to think that. That is wrong. That's why I always relate this to Star Wars. It's always been that. It's always been that. Like flat out. That is right built into that. Donald Trump, what he's been doing and stuff like that, that is flat out, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. That is the empire. If you want to make Putin or Mitch McConnell the emperor, Donald Trump's Darth Vader. As cool as that sounds, you don't really actually want a Darth Vader. It's not actually somebody you'd want. Because if you learned your lesson from Star Wars, the whole point was Anakin was the good guy, not Vader. And even later in the story, he changed his tone when confronted by his own kin and stuff like that. And the point is, I said this to you. I even said, it's going to be annoying when eventually he causes so many problems that he realizes he fucked up the country and now he can't do anything about it. Now the enemy is taking advantage of that. That's all that's going to happen. All that's going to happen is that he's going to do too many things to try to protect this image or this thing, that these terrible things that he's been doing that are just awful, where it's just about him not admitting he was ever wrong. Where he's wrong about something, but he can't take that, so he lies, causes a problem, gets rid of the thing, just to bring the thing back so he can try to say he did that. You know, all the stuff he tried to take credit for that Obama actually did, somebody else actually did. You know, all the stuff where you could say the economic increase, the jobs and stuff like that were just stuff that Biden did that he inherited. And now, like, again, there's nothing beautiful about this bill. This bill is destroying Americans, cut taxes for rich people, and will raise your taxes over time. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It will add $3 trillion to the debt. Because, again, you don't give tax cuts to people that are making more money than you. They should pay the same tax percentage or more, because they can afford it. There's a larger amount because it's a percentage. They make more. Okay, so like when you buy something at the store and you total up all your groceries at the end of the list, you're going to have more tax based on the more items you have, because again, the total amount was more, so you paid more in tax. They're trying to stop this from. They're just giving themselves a break, so that they can just get another jet or get another thing. That's all they're doing. They're trying to make sure that the government doesn't take their rightful tax dollars. So the point is the government has a lot less money and can't ever get ahead because rich people aren't paying their fair share, which is what the Democrats have been trying to tell you all along. And it's the Republicans that are doing it. So this is the point. And he just did it again, where he gave another tax cut to rich people. Again. So, I'll say to you, do you really, really want this guy in charge when all he's doing is giving tax cuts to rich people? That's all he's been doing. He just did it again. Is this really what you want? You know, and again, he says it's a tax cut for you. It's just a complete lie. It's the same thing he did the first time. And then you blamed it on Biden. When Biden was president, you were like, oh, the taxes are high. It was Trump's tax plan from the previous administration. Like, Biden doesn't do what Trump does. Biden's not going to sit here and just, like, try to make that suddenly go away. No, like, he doesn't sit there and try to play king like Trump does. He's going to do what he can. But it was Trump's tax plan. And yeah, it literally just cost you more money and raised your taxes when Biden was president to make it look like he did that, because you don't understand how things work. And he knows that. You know, the whole point is he's using my stream to do that. This way he's been shutting me up. All he's been doing is watching people like me who slide under the radar or aren't big enough for people to know, like Colbert and stuff like that. He's been learning by watching me. They're all wondering, who the fuck told this guy this? Who the fuck told this? He's watching me. He's fucking with my streams, learning from me all the warnings I'm trying to put out there and just be informative. And all he's doing is fucking with my popularity and whether or not I get things. Remember, I don't even have super chats yet. I have the prerequisite. Remember all these things that I'm supposed to have, and I don't just suddenly have them for some strange reason. I make the prerequisite easily. You have plenty of watch time hours. So, we know what's happened. We know what's happened. And we've been seeing it slowly but surely, but again, some of us have been sounding the alarm and telling you Meanwhile, it's been really just detrimental to us. And eventually it's going to be detrimental to you, too. You just don't realize it yet. Again, it was like I've had friends that kind of act like this. They don't understand. Like, somebody actually told me this once. He said that, like, he votes for Trump, and this was way back, because he felt like he had more money while Trump was in office. He actually told me that. This is all Trump needed to hear. Because, again, that's the point. This guy is so foolish. He's such a fool. He doesn't understand how due process works and how bills work and how our system works. He doesn't get that it takes time. He doesn't get that that's exactly what I've been saying. That if he, like, literally that was Obama. Obama stimulated the economy. All these things. When Trump came into office, he literally signed executive orders defunding those very organizations that you experienced economic stimulus from. And slowly they went away. So that it would look like when Biden was in office, because he didn't even expect to win the first time. So it would look like that when Biden was in office, or whoever came next, that it was their fault. Because again, you are too foolish to understand how it works. And you're his base. So that's all he needs. He just needs you to understand nonsense, basically, and not how it works. Because he ain't fooling any of us that actually vote for people that are intelligent. That's the point. He knows you are fools. Oh, my wallet was fatter when Donald Trump was... Fuck does that have to... Again, like, this is so detrimental to that, is just how often people put this information on Facebook. They talk about these things, and this is why I say stupid. This is why I use those words. I don't mean to insult. I want you to understand they look at it that way. I wanted you to feel that. I wanted you to feel they think you're stupid. I was hoping you would realize this, that this is what I was presenting you. If I think this, and I care about you, realize what they're doing. They're manipulating. They're using that to manipulate. They want you to love them and think they're all great and stuff like that, and yada, yada, yada. You have to put that together, man. So, this is what they've been doing. They follow anybody and harass anybody, cause a problem for anybody that may have had some sort of, spat on Facebook, like political debate on Facebook and comments. They follow you around, they harass you, they learn about it, and they try to get other people to view you a certain way, to view you as like a problem, to view like Democrats as a problem. That's it. They're just trying to get you to think like Democrats are the problem, or like some sort of like issue or something like that, and using oftentimes conspiracy theories and stuff like that to do it. And then they have tools like with the FBI, where Trump, we know he's using them, and CIA and stuff like that. Trust me, they could make you think that, well, they could probably make you think almost anything, like, seriously. So don't go, like, these guys sit in office all day and learn tactics on how to manipulate people against each other. Like, that's their fucking, some of these people, that's their fucking job. And he's using that against Americans. So yeah, we're gonna start telling the truth here real quick. Because, like, I don't give a fuck. You're starting to do that against Americans, you're the enemy. So anyway, I think it's about enough. I appreciate you guys. I know I tried to make this as short as possible, but, like, there's just certain, like, I get going a little bit, and it's hard for me to stop, because I could really just sit here and talk about the subject for a while. There's so much crap that's been going on that you could talk about. I was thinking again, along the whole police thing and stuff like that. Just don't forget that they're manipulating you to the whole manipulation thing we talked about. They are using real, like, kind of things on social media to kind of manipulate even them, I think, to be not very smart and think that they can do things they're not supposed to be able to do. So maybe a cop sees something somewhere, thinks it's legitimate and that he can do this, but really he's just reading something online and he should have proper training to know he can't do that. So, like, I think that's really happening a little bit. I don't think that's most of it. I just think it's sometimes. And again, that person is not somebody that should be doing that job, because they're taking something from social media and involving it in their work. So my big point behind that is that if you spend time on social media sitting here trying to make something of what somebody's saying on a stream, something like that, like you're just sitting here listening and hanging on those words and you're a cop, don't. You gotta be out there doing what you're supposed to be doing, because the moment that you start lingering on this, they use that, and they will absolutely get you locked in. They will get you obsessed with this thing, and you're locked in, and then you have to. So again, just get out there, keep doing what you know is right, and stand it up for the Constitution. And again, that's to your benefit as an officer too. Really is. Really is. Because you're a citizen too. So you would want these things too. Our Constitution and our democracy should always be, and has always been, all the way up kind of until this point, based on the concept that we should treat others the way we would like to be treated. It was always that. Always, always, always. This is why we adapt and we evolve as we head into the future. More people around. We want to make sure everybody feels safe. And, you can't expect us to not adapt things and change things as we go. That's a good way of thinking. Anybody that always does things has always done things the same way, will always do things the same way, this is not something that lasts. Something else will replace you. You have to adapt and evolve. The only way to do that is through democracy. That's why it works. It's why we know it works. Because it is adaptable. And it uses the people to do it. The very people that it affects. While giving you freedoms. This is so important. Don't let this get taken away. And certainly don't let Donald Trump take it away. Because he's trying. Yeah. Alright, thank you so much. Appreciate that.